Hello and welcome to episode 3 on data and innovation. For those who haven't stopped by yet, hi, I'm Dan and I work for PT 2.0. Today we're going to talk about how poor data quality can ruin your firm's attempt to automate. So we've been doing data integrity services for professional services firms for a number of years now, and one of the things that always comes up at this time of the year where we're trying to do more automation, where we're trying to get things sorted for the new year and the new year intake and contracts and things like that, is the quality of the data in our practice management systems. So today I am going to talk to you a little bit around how that poor data quality can not only ruin your attempts to automate, but additionally, what can we do to rectify the issue, as well as strategies for maintaining it longer term as well. So hope you can join me for this video. It'll probably be about a 15-minute video, I reckon, around data integrity. So who are we and why are we talking to you? So PT 2.0 is your data people. Essentially, we were founded and built to help professional services and other firms realize the potential of their data and technology. So we focus on the data side of building more efficient businesses and higher performance. So we do things like data integrity, process and procedure reviews around data, how we integrate systems together, and we're probably most known for our development of Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps, in terms of leveraging that data to provide insight to a business. So what are we here to talk about? Well, we're here to talk about that in most firms, as much as 32% of your data is missing, incomplete, incorrect, or inconsistent. And while that number sounds high, I think for knowledge working firms like accountants, this is probably understated, if anything, and from our past experience. So Ovum Research claims that companies lose about 30% of their revenues due to poor data quality, and I think that this increases as we talk about firms that use higher levels of automation, and 77% of businesses believe their bottom line is affected by bad data. Now, don't have stats for Australia, but in the United States, data errors cost businesses around $3.1 trillion. I don't think I can actually imagine what that number looks like. Regardless, it's big. So the question I always get asked is, how clean is your data? So we're going to talk about firms that we work with, what their data looks like, and then we're going to move into some practical steps you can to keep it under control. So firms that we work with over the last few years have had between 20,000 and 400,000 easily identifiable data issues. So a firm with 100 staff had over 140,000 data issues on their active clients. So it just tries to put into scale the number of data issues that we can find on clients that we're using that information to automate other processes. And why do we care about that? Well, I am a big fan of automation, and those who know me know that I will like nothing more than working at how we can be more efficient in automating data flows, client contact, and things like that. But automation can also work against us if there is nothing like sending an email to a client saying, "Dear insert first name, we want to thank you for being a loyal customer for the past 5 years. We are so thankful that we couldn't even put your name into our database so that we could address you correctly and directly." So these are the issues that we've got. As accounting and advisory firms, we are starting to automate more and more of our functions and features, and I'm all for that. I just want you to do it so that you don't get any egg on your face or ruin your reputation while you do it. Because this is the innovation paradox in my mind, is that poor data inside the modern accounting firm actually hinders the process improvement process. So, we implement tools to automate and save time so that we can spend time on innovation, so building advisory services and things like that. But these automations don't work effectively due to poor data integrity. So we start this vicious cycle going on. So we really, really want to try and impress on most people is that the firms of the future are ones that not just automate, but automate well and have a system around it. So there's many ways of dealing with this data issue, all right? And I've got 5 different ways of dealing with it, from nothing through to nirvana, all right? So number 1, is sticking your head in the sand and saying, hey, it's not affecting us at the moment. And to tell you the truth, that is a legitimate strategy. Right? There is a cost to keeping data clean. So if you're not leveraging your data, that is sometimes a legitimate strategy. However, the issue with this strategy is that it actually takes a while to clean data effectively and properly. So if you are saying, hey, it's not affecting us at the moment, what you're actually saying to me is that we don't have any plans to increase efficiency and automation within the next 3 years. All right. I don't think we've got the luxury in today's economy and market to say we don't have the time to improve our business and processes. So I just want to challenge everybody on sticking your head in the sand. Next option, and we hear this quite a bit, is we get somebody telling us, look, this is all too hard. Look, let's get a new system, and next time I promise you it will be better. This is such a fallacy in my point of view, because your next system has got no hope of being better, and we blame the old system that we couldn't use all its features and automations and integrations because we had bad data quality, but we're going to put that same bad data into a new system. So we're naturally going to have similar kind of issues in there. And let's face it, to get the new system started, you're going to have to clean anyway. So why not actually address the source of the issue? And then, by all means, if you want to change system because you're getting some delta of performance, efficiency, automation, and things like that, cool. But don't blame the system for poor data habits. So option C is what we see most businesses do, which is produce a massive spreadsheet during the quiet periods and have our team members go through that list. And while that is a absolutely legitimate way of cleaning, we've noticed this interesting effect that is hitting the industry, whereas we see that the data quality of clients with a surname between A and C is cleaner than other clients in there. And that's because firms produce these spreadsheets, start going line by line through the clients, making sure that the client record is complete and correct, which means that they run out of time. There's clients there that just don't get actioned. Okay, so it's a legitimate way, but I'm hoping that through the course of this webinar, I'm going to show you better ways to do it. So option D is get a tool that helps you identify missing data and start cleaning the data exceptions continually throughout the year. So cleaning the data that is missing, incomplete, or incorrect, and not trying to assess all of the data is a much more efficient way of being able to do it. Now, full disclosure, PT2 has actually written tools and reports to help with this process, to make it easier to see your data integrity issues in your systems, but what we've got there helps immensely and will help shortcut the process, but there's nothing here that can't stop you doing the same kind of thing in Excel or something else like that. It's just knowing the business rules that you need to test for. Okay, and finally we get to option E, which is Nirvana. So we actually have a data strategy in place. So we're analyzing what types of data we use, and we're eliminating any wasteful data and just cleaning the useful and critical data. And we're cleaning it constantly through the use of exceptions. So only picking up the data that's wrong, not reviewing everything. So let's run through a couple of practical steps on how we keep our data clean. Now, obviously, this does not apply if you are option A, which is it's not a problem at the moment, which I hope I've convinced you that option A is not really an option at all. So let's move on to how we can keep your data clean. What I try to do with most of our clients is actually talk to them about categorizing their data into 3 major categories. Crucial information, so that's information your business just simply can't function without. This is information like names, telephone numbers, addresses, ABNs, TFNs, those kind of things. You physically can't do your work without those pieces of data. Useful pieces of data are ones that help improve operations, efficiency, performance, things like that. So a lot of marketing attributes can actually help you target clients and services and things like that if you use them and keep them updated. So we like to categorize data into those 2 major things. But then the biggest one that a lot of firms overlook is the actual wasteful data. So that's data that is obsolete and provides little to no value for the firm. So these are things like your client's coffee preference. Okay. Now, that's not saying that this is applicable to everyone, but there's a lot of firms that collect things like that, but only fill the data out for 3 months, and they get through 5% of the client base. So because it's only applicable to a small number of the clients, it never gets used, it never gets updated, and provides no value. We do have clients that, for instance, do record coffee preference, but they use it and they update it and they maintain it and they use it to provide an exceptional client experience. If you are using the data, it has moved from wasteful to useful. So your wasteful data might be different to somebody else's wasteful data. Your useful data might be different to somebody else's useful data. So this is a strategy around you and your business. So after we've categorized the data into those 3 categories, I try and get people to target missing information first, okay? And we start with critical information always, and then we move down to useful information, and hopefully by now you've gotten rid of the wasteful information. So target missing first. So, and don't try and clean too much. So pick 1 or 2 critical fields that you want to start with, and then do another 2. The reason for that is that then at least you can get through the entire client list and get them fixed up, as opposed to only getting A to C fixed. So next, we focus on inconsistent information. So an example of that is something like a partner or manager on matters and assignments being inconsistent between the different years. That obviously has a massive effect on reporting and can lead to some adverse results. So we say focus on inconsistent data next. Same kind of thing, do 1 or 2 critical fields, then move on to others. My next big one is actually put a partner or director in charge of the data. So someone at the executive level needs to own the data integrity in the business. That way it is getting reported, there's someone responsible and someone is actually looking after it. So make it a board KPI. And if you can't measure it, then you have your first issue. Most firms have zero idea. So I talked about the 140,000 issues from a 100-person firm, floored them that they had that many issues. They said to me, as pretty much everyone does now, our data is pretty clean. Now, I can get the magnitude of a data issue pretty quickly, and I can tell you that that is not out of bounds for some of these larger firms. So if you can't measure it, you've got your first data integrity issue. So this next one, though, is probably a little bit out of kilter with the rest. So removing duplication. So this doesn't actually improve your data integrity, but it'll help you with your efficiency with data integrity. We see a lot of firms duplicating data between systems simply because their reporting doesn't work between systems. So for instance, we are adding additional data fields to another practice management system, financial planning system, or things like that, where we want to be able to have that information, and because we can only report out of that one system, we need to duplicate the data. Now, I want to distinguish that from duplicated data that we have to have in systems for the systems to work. What I'm talking about here is getting our reporting to work across systems so that the reporting requirements mean that we don't have to duplicate data. If we can minimize the amount of duplicated data, you've actually reduced your data integrity burden at the same time. So, and finally, what we want to do is we want to talk about maintaining data and going forward. So how do we create a data culture where keeping your data integrity clean is as important as doing your timesheet? Because we know that without clean data, we are affecting performance because we're affecting automation. So how do we make this clean? So for instance, part of my weekly routine is I go and look at our data integrity scoreboards to make sure that we are keeping on top of our data integrity. So it is possible to build a data culture inside the firm that really helps you leverage. So to end this video, I hope that's given you some tips on how you can start addressing data in your firm. And I want to leave you with one question, is how dirty is your data and is it holding you back? Look, thanks so much for listening. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you did find this interesting, please drop me a comment below. Would love the feedback on it. We're obviously starting these as our way to help businesses with their data problems. So we're doing a series of videos on data integrity, Power BI, how you build a data team inside your business and so forth. So if you find this interesting, please subscribe and you'll get notified of our future videos. Have a great week and hope to see you again soon.